Spratly Islands dispute is a regional maritime territorial sovereignty dispute which involves 6 countries in the South China Sea: the China, Taiwan, Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei, underscored by the prospect of large natural energy reserves, control of strategic global maritime areas, and shifting global power dynamics. The dispute has significant international geostrategic, economic, political, and legal implications. The Spratly Islands is the source of conflict because of its oil abundance and other natural resources and strategic locations. The Spratly Islands consist of a number of small islands, reefs, atolls, and are strategically located along major trade routes, valuable as fishing grounds, and rich marine ecosystem. About 12% of the total annual fish catch of the world comes from the South China Sea, which is very rich in fishery. The Spratly area is also one of the busiest areas for commercial shipping traffic, and it is a productive area for fishing worldwide. And if neighboring nations' claims were accepted, they would receive an extended continental shelf. However, its oil and gas reserves are potentially significant, but largely unexplored. The Spratly Islands are strategically important as bases from which to observe maritime activity in the South China Sea, and perhaps base and project military force since they are situated as important maritime commerce routes to Northeast Asia, in addition to offering economic benefits. In the Philippine law, the government claims that Spratly Islands is part of the country's exclusive economic zone, or the EEZ, and the Spratly lies within its 200-mile exclusive economic zone according to the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or the UNCLOS. The Republic of the Philippines also contend under maritime law that the People's Republic of China cannot extend its baseline claims to the Spratlys because the PRC is not the archipelagic state. In 2011, President Benigno Aquino III said that China's 9-dash lines is against international laws, particularly the United Nations Conventions of the Law of the Sea, or the UNCLOS. The Republic of China, or the PRC, claims are based on the history and not in UNCLOS. However, the PRC still claims all the Spratly Islands as part of China. It uses a 9-dash line which swoops down past Vietnam and the Philippines and towards Indonesia, encompassing virtually all the South China Sea. To delineate its claims, on the surface, it appears the Chinese leaders are relying on the historical argument to buttress their claims. China traces its interactions with the South China Sea back to the Western Han Dynasty. Thus, Beijing's narrative about its claim begins as early as the 2nd century BCE, when the Chinese people sailed in the South China Sea and discovered some of the region's island features. Basically, the ruling turned in favor of the Philippines, concluding that in the matter of China's claims of historical rights and its 9-dash line, China had no legal basis to claim historical rights to resources within the sea areas falling within the 9-dash line. The tribunal found that certain areas were within the EEZ of the Philippines, and moreover that China had violated certain sovereign rights of the Philippines in its EEZ. Such violations included interfering with Philippine fishing and petroleum exploration, failing to prevent Chinese fishermen from fishing in the EEZ, and constructing artificial islands. So the tribunal also determined that China unlawfully restricted the traditional fishing rights of Philippine fishermen at the Spratly Islands, and that China's law enforcement vessels unlawfully created a serious risk of collision when they physically obstructed Philippine vessels. The Philippines and the United States launched their largest ever joint military exercises on April 11, 2023, as the long-standing allies seek to counter growing Chinese assertiveness in the region. Nearly 18,000 troops are taking part in the annual exercises, the Balikatan, or shoulder to shoulder, in Filipino, which for the first time will include a live fire drill in the South China Sea, which Beijing claims almost entirely. About 12,200 American, 5,400 Filipino, and just over 100 Australian soldiers, about twice as many last year, will participate in the 18th day Balikatan exercises. The leaders of these countries must work together to preserve the peace, stability, and prosperity in this region. They must solve the dispute in a peaceful means and should be settled by diplomatic and nonviolent ways, rather than through force or war. They must continue resorting to the rule of law as embodied in UNCLOS. War is not an option and has never been an option. We must have an ongoing friendly dialogues if we are to find a solution to the problem. In any case, our primary goal there is to make it possible for our fishermen to travel there and continue earning a living. And secondly, probably a collaborative oil exploration. Are you aware of the dispute between China and the Philippines over the Spratly Islands?
Yes.
So what can you say about the issue?
It is the most talked political issues in the Philippines right now regarding our sovereign rights over the West Philippine Sea, where China claimed it as theirs. And as far as I know, West Philippine Sea, or the so-called Spratly Island, was actually part of the Philippine territory that has an abundant natural resources that I think every country would envy, just like China. And for me, as Filipinos, we must also help to stand up for our rights against China to win back our lost island. Because even the Filipino fishermen who's fishing near the territory are fighting for their rights to still get fishes there, even though some Chinese ships tried to so many ways to get them out of the island. So why not us, right?
So what are your suggestions on what actions the Philippines must take to not be the losing end of the matter?
Since we have our newly elected leaders now in the Philippines, I think they should prioritize the West Philippine Sea in their platform. We just need to give our leaders encouragement and support so that we can get our full rights over our lost territory, and anytime we can have it back in God's will.
Are you aware of the dispute between China and the Philippines over the Spratly Islands?
Yes,
What can you say about the issue?
I can say that this issue is giving a big impact to us Filipino because we know that the Spratly Islands is one of the treasures that the Philippines have. Especially to the fishermen that this is the way or this is the place that they can earn and get a lot of fishes to sell and to eat also in everyday life.
So what are your suggestions on what actions the Philippines must take to not be the losing end of the matter?
The leader of each country need to have a fair rules so that us Filipino can gain and get from the place that the Philippines own.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. What can you say about the issue?
Kanang mga issue kada kasi nagbubot between China and Philippines.
What are your suggestions on what actions the Philippines must take to not be the losing end to the matter?
Ang ika-suggest kinahanglan unta atong presidente makigsabot po sa presidente sa China para way mahimong gubot.
You aware of the dispute between China and the Philippines over the Spratly Islands?
Yes,
So what can you say about the issue?
I can say that the Philippines should take sovereignty over Spratly Islands because it has had the most success and experience with the one maintaining ecosystem. Plus, the islands are well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. We, Filipinos, fight for it because it is a big impact of our daily needs when the China claimed the Spratly Islands.
So what are your suggestions on what actions the Philippines must take to not be the losing end of the matter?
My suggestions of this issue: the superior of each country should conduct equitable command so that the Filipino obtain what Philippines own.
Thank you. Are you aware of the dispute between China and the Philippines over the Spratly Islands?
Yes.
What can you say about the issue?
Kung mapasagdan na nga problema ha, pwede na nga maabot sa gira ng himo ng siluganan sa World War III.
So what are your suggestions on what actions the Philippines must take to not be the losing end of the matter?
Kinahanglan ang atong mga pamunuan ang Pilipinas. Kinahanglan makigsabot ang atong presidente ang problema ha.